We're back now with former NYMEX trader and now mayor of Edgewater, New Jersey, Mike McPartland, and Andy Lipow of Lipow Oil Associates. Great to see you both back again. You were listening to the speech to all three of you. Mike McPartland, what jumped out at you? The releasing of the regulations. That's the most important thing, where he's going to lift all these regulations that we've had over the past couple of years. I'm kind of speechless in a way listening to the president. I think it's an ambitious speech. As far as what happens going forward in the market, if he's going to be loosening up all these regulations and all this oil is going to come to the market, I'm starting to think glut. I'm thinking it was a bearish type of thing for prices as we go forward. Well, right now, I believe crude is pretty much flat to just slightly higher, but off the earlier highs of just this session alone. Andy Lipow, what is the market thinking in the wake of what he talked about? Specifically on crude, he said he's greenlit a new pipeline between the U.S. and Mexico, but also natural gas exports to South Korea, and we can look at natural gas as well. But which part of this struck you as most dramatic?
Well, I think it is in the coal and natural gas area, because what he's saying is that the U.S. is open for business, and we're going to lower the regulations to lower the cost to get oil and natural gas out of the ground. Some of this stuff was underway, but he's just reinforcing that we more or less are having an all-of-the-above approach when he mentions nuclear and coal. The one thing I'll point out, by omission, he left out renewables, solar, wind, so those industries are probably wondering what's in it for them.
What do you think is in it for them, Mike?
I think that's a longer-term solution as far as going to, solar and wind type of power. But more specifically, his up front, what he's talking about, the regulations, like Andy had said, that's going to be the most important thing. But I'm really curious to see what happens to price. Andy had talked earlier about, where the break-even is on some of these production platforms. So, I mean, let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think it's an ambitious plan. I think it will create jobs in the short term. But as we know, oil goes through booms and busts. So if this plan that we have out there, we're to start exporting more to South Korea. I thought that was an interesting title there. But, I mean, let's see what happens with the price as we go forward.
As we see on the screen, oil and gas drillers such as Diamond Offshore and Noble, Transocean, they're moving higher by anywhere from 0.5%, 1%, 2%. Andy, what did you make of his comment? Because he began by addressing the crowd, lots of energy, big players, and saying you went through 8 years of hell, presumably, obviously, under President Obama's administration. But Forbes was pointing out that, ironically, under the 8 years of President Bush's leadership, and he was widely seen as a Texas oil man, oil production in the U.S. fell each of those years. Yet under President Obama, not exactly seen as a friend to oil, oil production rose the 7 out of 8 years, certainly, that he was in charge. So, you can love oil and embrace coal. What do you think truly will come to pass with the markets and these names that our investors are watching for?
Well, I think the thing for the investor to look at is which is the company that's using technology to lower their cost. It wasn't President Obama who developed the fracking and shale revolution. It was industry that did that. And now, what President Trump is saying is we're going to kind of help that along by, getting you the tools that you need to lower your costs. When he talks about the pipelines and the natural gas export facilities, that's enabling the producers to get their product to market that are overseas, which is going to help with U.S. influence overseas in the geopolitical sense. So he's looking at it, if you will, from in the ground to the wellhead, through the midstream to the export facilities, as this big issue worldwide to make America more influential in the energy markets.
Well, we want to thank Andy Lipow, your big brain when it comes to oil and all things energy. We do appreciate it.